Hello, and welcome back. I'm your host, Karen Del Maestro, self-care coach, breast cancer and BRCA2 thriver, and the host of the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. Thank you for joining me here today. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about 3 things that your oncologist didn't tell you about life after breast cancer. Let's dive in, right? You ready? So I'm wondering if you've been surprised and confused since your treatment ended about how you've been feeling and kind of wish maybe that somebody might have given you the heads up, right? And let you know that you would likely not be just jumping right back into your pre-cancer life. You wouldn't be alone. I have to tell you, most of the women that I speak with feel exactly the same way. And many of them feel exactly like I did. And I'm wondering if you can relate. I remember so clearly sitting in my doctor's office and hearing the words, "I'll see you in 3 months." And I was like, what? Like, it's coming. But I don't think any of us are prepared for how we actually feel when that happens. And I certainly was not ready for the reaction that I had, because I really thought that I'd be jumping for joy, right? This is the confusing part. Wasn't this supposed to be the milestone that we'd been waiting for, right? Active treatment was finished. Yes, I knew I had continuing meds, but the weekly and monthly visits were done. And what I remember so clearly happening was this gut-wrenching, horrible, ugly sob. And I just started crying and I could not stop. And my doctor's hugging me. I'm hugging her like I just don't want to let go. And I remember saying to her, "I'm not ready to break up with you yet." And she just looked at me and smiled and said, "I'm not going anywhere." But that 3-month gap felt like an eternity. And what I began to realize is that, as I went home continuing to cry, and it took me about a couple of weeks. I was emotional at the drop of a hat, exhausted, couldn't even get out of bed, so drained, brain fog, did not know what was going on. There were days that were super scary where I actually thought I couldn't get my words in a row. Sometimes blah, blah actually came out and I wasn't intending for it to come out. And did you have the same? And what I began to realize is that I wasn't alone, right? If you're relating to this, then please know you're not alone. This is so frequently what happens when we hear those words. "I'll see you in 3 months, I'll see you in 6 months." And it's because our medical team, who have been our guiding light throughout our entire breast cancer experience, are saying, "See ya." It's like the safety net being ripped out from under us. And we're like, what do I do now? What do I do now, right? And honestly, it was that feeling that prompted me to shift my coaching practice to now specialize in working with breast cancer survivors at this very crucial time of our experience. Like I said, when we feel like we're still on that high wire, and yet the safety net at the bottom has been pulled out from under us. We're not feeling like we're on solid ground and solid footing yet, right? We're not trusting that yet. So, having said that, let's shed some light on the 3 things that your oncologist didn't tell you about life after breast cancer. And the first one is that the next stage of recovery actually starts after active treatment ends. And this is the stage when the true physical, emotional, and mental healing actually begins. Because up until now, right, we've been going from one appointment to the next, from one test, and then the dreaded waiting time to the next, waiting for those results. We've been in survival mode. We really have. It's like, what do I need to do to fight? But you decided, and I want you to think back and I want you to remember, I remember very clearly thinking, I was quiet, I didn't tell anybody, but I made the decision myself, Karen, you're going to fight this with everything you've got. Did you do the same thing? Do you remember making that decision? Because I guarantee you, you did. It's the only way we get through these things. Now, the other thing, right, number two, that your oncologist likely did not share. I mean, I've spoken to hundreds of women, and these are things that I hear from most of them, I have to say. They don't let us know that when that run stops, all of these menopausal symptoms, which are the most common side effects of all breast cancer treatments, are hit us in the face. Hit us in the face. I mean, you may have had some of them as you were going through, but it's like, now that we're not so busy, I think we realize them all more. So what can we expect here, right? You can expect to be completely wiped out. You have fought a battle, no matter what your course of treatment was, even if you didn't need chemo or radiation. And I hear from some women, I don't even feel like it's fair to say that I'm a warrior or a survivor or that I fought a battle because I didn't have to go through chemo or radiation. Is that you? Do you say that to yourself? Because I can tell you, it's not an easy path for any of us. We have all had that thought. Am I going to die? Am I going to make this? I've got the big C. Like, what does that mean? Right? You are a warrior. You have fought. You did decide that you wanted to be here. So we're going to be completely wiped out. Right? We've been through a lot. You're going to be emotional in the drop of a hat. Like I said, those highs and those lows. Yeah, I'm done with treatment. Oh no, what now? I don't know what to do. Like we go through it all. You're going to likely have joint and muscle pain. And these can all be as well, by the way, symptoms of inflammation. Remember that word. It's important. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in a minute. You are likely going to have a Buddha belly. You're going to feel a bit swollen, especially if you've had surgery, but not just if you've had surgery. I hear it from a lot of women. Again, our hormones have all gone through massive, massive, massive changes, especially if we're on continuing medications, especially if you've had surgery, but your chemo affects your hormones. Our hormones are affected. We're going to have mood swings and dreaded hot flashes. Yep, for most of us. And unfortunately, for most of us, we're going to notice that people around us probably don't understand what we're going through. Not a bad thing. We can't blame them for that, right? They didn't go through it. They don't know. It's kind of like if you've never been through a divorce, you really can't understand the complexities and the emotional side of what that is. Same with anything, any other major trauma, right? You might try to push yourself back into your pre-cancer life. And your body might be like, heck no, I'm not ready for that, right? And you'll probably keep pushing that you just would wake up one day feeling like your old self. And maybe you're saying things like, I just want my life back, right? These are all things that I've heard people say so many times. Now, number 3, you ready for the good news here? And this is not just good news, this is great news. You don't just have to suck it up and do nothing. Woo! Doesn't that feel better already? Yes, because your doctors are also not telling you this, right? It's going to be a while until you feel like yourself again. That's the truth, okay? And in fact, there's actually an equation I'll share that with you because I know you're all dying. Karen, tell me, when am I going to feel like myself again? So here's an equation. It's not exact, but I think it gives you, kind of takes the pressure off and kind of lets you feel relieved a little bit and say, okay, it's not unusual that I'm still feeling all of these things that we just talked about. So A in the equation is the date you were diagnosed. B in the equation is the date of your last active treatment. So if you're on continuing medication, we're not including that. So your last surgery, chemo, radiation. Okay. C, which is the length of time you can expect to feel all of these feelings, is B minus A. So the length of time between the two, the length of time between your diagnosis and your date of your last active treatment. That gives you some kind of frame of reference for how long it takes for your body to bounce back. But there are things that we can do to help that, right? So if you're feeling sucked dry, feeling like you're running on fumes and barely have enough energy to exist, and you may even feel like you're just stuck, right? But there are so many small but mighty things that you can do. And that's where I come in. And again, your doctor is not sharing these with you. Number one is that you'll never have the vitality that you're craving unless you stop putting yourself last. Right? Putting yourself on the back burner to take care of everybody else. How do I know you're doing that? It's actually one of the common personality traits amongst breast cancer patients. Yeah, another reason why we need to stop, right? Because we don't want to get this disease again. Number two, what you eat matters a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. So whether you are vegetarian, vegan, whether you're eating animal proteins, maybe you've just said, screw it, I've had cancer, I'm going to eat and drink what I want. Listen up, because this is for you. I am hosting a free 5-day challenge. Think of this as the unchallenging challenge, please. It's called Eating for Energy After Breast Cancer. And you can get the details wherever you're listening to this episode. The link will be in the show notes. Okay. Because you don't just have to suck it up. You don't just, I want you to feel empowered to know that there are things that you can do to change the circumstances so that you're less tired, right? And your food matters a lot. And I'm going to be sharing that with you all in the challenge. So you also want to create your stress management plan before you end up super stressed. When you're ending up super stressed, it's too late. You're in it. You're in the thick of it. So come up with a plan beforehand. I can help you with that too. And I don't know about you, but I was super, super stressed prior to my diagnosis. Went through some major things. And a lot of the survivors I talked to did too. And so stress is a really important factor. And we also want to make sure that we're getting rid of toxic chemicals around our home that have chronic fatigue causing ingredients in them, right? So let's summarize, because I feel like that was kind of a lot, right? Three things that your oncologist didn't tell you about life after breast cancer. Number one, that the next stage of recovery starts after treatment ends. Number two, how wiped out you're really going to be, as well as all of those other menopausal symptoms that we talked about. And the third one, that you don't just have to suck it up and accept it for being what it is. You do not. You do not. That all being said, I would warmly invite you to come and join me for this free 5-day clean eating for energy after breast cancer challenge. Be intentional with what you eat and see your energy soar. It's something we're doing every day anyway. Little shifts in the right direction towards the right foods can make a massive, massive difference. I hope to see you there. Again, Thank you for listening or watching. My name is Karen Del Maestro. You can find me over at karendelmaestro.com or in the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community or in the 5-day free challenge. Hope to see you there. Bye for now, and thank you again for watching or listening in.